God is about to confirm him, not in the way you've been straining to see it. He confirms by what he starts removing around you. When God confirms the man who's yours, he doesn't only whisper it into your spirit, where you'll spend the next several months talking yourself in and out of it. He confirms it out loud by what he starts lifting off your life. I want to speak to two women right now. One of you has a man, you have time together, history, conversations that meant something. Your past asking, is he good for me? And into, is this the covenant? And that question has been sitting on your chest so long it became background noise. The other one doesn't have a man yet. She's watching for language, for signs, for something more concrete than you'll just know. This message is for both of you, one receiving it as present reality, the other receiving it as preparation for when her season is real. And before I give you these signs, hear this, because it protects you. No sign from God will ever ask you to ignore Scripture, silence wise counsel, excuse bad character, or call confusion peace. God's confirmation will never require you to turn off your discernment. So, these are not signs to chase a man, or decode a man, or build a marriage in your mind that he hasn't agreed to. These are the things God removes and quiets when he's bringing real clarity. Because here's the truth this whole message turns on. When God is about to confirm he is your husband, he will not only speak to your heart. He will start removing the pressure, the hiding, the alarm, the confusion, and the old war that always surrounded what was not from him. You've been straining to find the confirmation, decoding him, analyzing every word, asking everyone what they think. But God's confirmation often doesn't arrive as something added. It arrives as something subtracted. The torment lifting, the alarm going quiet, the hiding becoming unnecessary, the war that surrounded every wrong one simply not there. You won't have to manufacture this, beloved. You'll watch God do it. The first sign is that God quiets the question that used to torment you. You know the loop. Is it him? Is it not? Is it him? That question that used to spin through your mind without stopping. You'll notice it slows down. A week passes without you turning it over obsessively. You may still have questions, but the question is no longer tormenting you. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you." That peace begins to touch the very question that lived outside of peace for so long. Don't dismiss it. God is quieting something. The second sign is that your peace no longer depends on his presence. This one surprises people because it's counterintuitive. You notice you're at peace even when he's not around. The peace stopped rising and falling with whether he texted, showed up, reassured you. It has a root deeper than his presence. And hear this carefully, because the enemy counterfeits it. The peace I'm describing is not the numbness of attachment. If you feel peace while excusing lying, manipulation, or someone who dishonors God, that is not the peace of God. That is your nervous system attached to what's familiar. Real peace and real discernment work together. God's confirmation will never ask you to silence the alarm over genuine harm. But when the peace is real, you'll know it. It doesn't need him in the room to survive. The third sign is that God quiets the voices he once used to protect you. Think about the guardians in your life. The friends who wrinkled their noses at the wrong ones. The sister who warned you. The mother who stayed wary. When something was off, they felt it before you admitted it. Their alarm was information. But you'll notice something shifting. Not because they softened, not because you talked them into it, but because the protection they provided has already done its work, and God is lowering the alarm He Himself once raised. Proverbs 11:14 says, "In an abundance of counselors there is safety." The same wisdom that placed those voices around you can also quiet them. And when the people who love God and love you begin to relax, to nod, to bless what they used to question, pay attention, that's not nothing. That's the alarm system going silent. And when I say that, hear the difference. This is not ignore anyone who has a concern. If wise, Spirit-led people are consistently troubled, that is God speaking too. But when the guardians really rest, something has shifted in the spiritual atmosphere around the relationship. The fourth sign is that you no longer feel the need to hide or over-explain the relationship. You're not editing the details when you tell people, not omitting conversations, not defending strange behavior, not saying you just don't understand him to protect an image that can't hold the weight of the truth. You don't feel you have to keep the relationship alive by keeping parts of it hidden. Luke 8:17 says, "Nothing hidden that will not be made manifest." When something is from God, you do not have to manage the story of it. You just tell it, and it holds. That shift from defending to simply describing is confirmation wearing ordinary clothes. The fifth sign is that God begins confirming through mouths that did not compare notes. Someone who prays for you says something. A week later, someone else, a different context, a different city, no connection to the first, arrives at nearly the same thing on their own. Then a third, who knows nothing about either. People who never spoke to each other, landing on the same quiet conviction about you. This is where Scripture gives you the pattern. When Boaz sealed his covenant with Ruth, he didn't do it in private. He did it at the city gate, before the elders and all the people, and the whole community spoke the blessing aloud. Ruth 4:9-11. God confirms covenant through witnesses, not one random voice feeding a fantasy. The same conviction surfacing through mature, Spirit-led people who never compared notes. When that starts happening around you, don't explain it away. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation assembling itself out loud. And notice what God is taking away: the torment, the alarm, the hiding. Confirmation often looks like subtraction, not God handing you something new to analyze, but God lifting what was never supposed to stay. So if those first 5 landed, if you felt the question stop tormenting you, the alarm go quiet, the witnesses begin to speak, stay with me, because there are 2 more signs. And the 7th one is the one most women completely misread. It doesn't announce itself. It's not something that shows up. It's something that's finally missing. And it might be the loudest of all. The 6th sign is that he begins to carry clarity without you having to draw it out of him. He stops only feeling it, only speaking in spiritual possibilities, only orbiting. You are not the one naming everything anymore. You are not the one asking, so what are we? While he answers with fog that sounds spiritual but costs him nothing, he begins to use words with edges. He begins to say what he wants, what he's praying toward, what he intends, what he is willing to build. Not theatrically, not perfectly, but clearly enough that you are no longer carrying both sides of the discernment by yourself. Clarity starts becoming something he carries. not something you have to drag out of him. Hear this, because it protects you. Confirmation is not something you feel privately while he stays unsure, unavailable, or barely moving. God does not need you to stalk, strive, or wait indefinitely for a man who isn't carrying clarity toward you. If you're building the whole covenant in your mind while he orbits, that's not confirmation. That's hope misplaced. Real confirmation eventually shows in him, not only in you.